time pressure on set pieces. One of the boldest changes to hit rugby in 2025 is the strict time cap on set piece actions, especially conversion kicks and lineouts. For conversions, the clock now starts the moment a try is awarded, and the kicker has just 60 seconds to get the ball over the posts. Gone are the days of 90-second routines with dramatic pauses and endless breaths. This tweak might sound small, but it's transformed how teams handle post-try momentum. For a side chasing the scoreboard, the pressure is immediate. Miss your window, and you've just left 2 points hanging in the air. The rules trial period during the U20 Championship and the Pacific Nations Cup showed promising results. Average match length shaved down, ball in play time went up, and fans weren't stuck staring at a kicker's slow breathing exercises for half a minute. Then there's the 30-second limit on lineouts. The moment the ball is ready, the forwards have half a minute to assemble and throw in. It's a nightmare for sides that once used the lineout as a breather, but a gift to fans who hate the set-piece crawl. Miss the timer, and you're handing the opposition a free kick. Players now have to hustle into position, which has sped up the game's heartbeat significantly. A subtle but equally game-changing tweak, the play-on rule for uncontested lineouts. If the throw isn't perfectly straight but the opposing side doesn't contest it, the referee waves play forward. In the past, these moments meant a whistle and a scrum reset, slowing everything down. Now, it's a green light for continuous action. Teams are forced to react instantly instead of waiting for the ref to save them from a botched throw. Scrum half safety zone. Scrum halves have always lived dangerously, hovering over rucks, digging the ball out from scrums, and taking late hits from overeager defenders. In 2025, World Rugby introduced a 1 metre no-go zone for opponents when the scrum half is playing the ball from a ruck, maul or scrum. If you're inside that bubble without retreating, you're gifting away a penalty. The purpose here is obvious: protect one of the most exposed players on the pitch. But it's also had a knock-on effect on tactics. With defenders forced to hold back, scrum halves have more breathing room to launch attacking plays. It made sniping runs more common and encouraged teams to exploit the extra space at the base. Defenders, meanwhile, have had to sharpen their timing. Commit too early and you're in the ref's book. Commit too late and the attack is already breaking the line. The play's the thing. New TMO powers. In 2025, the television match official got a serious promotion. Under the new TMO last phase review rule, officials can now pull up and overturn clear and obvious infringements in the final attacking sequence before a try is scored. That includes knock-ons, offside positioning, obstruction in a maul, forward passes, or a player stepping into touch. The key phrase here, clear and obvious, is where the controversy lies. For some fans, it's a necessary tool to ensure game-changing tries are legitimate. For others, it's a recipe for endless slow-motion debates over what's actually obvious. Coaches have already started adjusting our attacking structures to avoid any borderline infractions in those final moments. A mistimed decoy run or an accidental hand in the ruck is now a direct threat to your scoreboard. The red card reset. That wasn't yet one of the most talked about ideas in recent years has been the 20-minute red card replacement rule. Instead of a team playing short for the remainder of the match, they can bring in a substitute after 20 minutes if the red card was for an accidental or borderline offence rather than deliberate foul play. While it was trialled in competitions like the Rugby Championship and Super Rugby, 2025 saw its official global rollout delayed. Even so, some competitions, like the Six Nations, have gone ahead and adopted it. Supporters argue it keeps matches competitive when a single clumsy tackle could otherwise doom a side. Critics, however, believe it waters down the deterrent effect of a red card, especially when dangerous players involved. In the meantime, its patchwork use across competitions means players have to keep 2 different mental files, one for domestic rules, one for international fixtures. Leady mouthguards, when safety meets sci-fi. If you tuned into the Women's Rugby World Cup in 2025, you might have thought you were seeing things. Players were running around with their mouths flashing red, not from blood, but from technology. This wasn't a gimmick or sponsorship stunt. These were instrumented LED mouthguards, designed to instantly detect high-impact collisions and send a flashing red alert to match officials and medics. Here's how they work. Each mouthguard has built-in sensors that measure G-force and acceleration, essentially tracking how hard a player's head snaps during contact. If the data spikes beyond a dangerous threshold, the mouthguard emits a bright red flash visible to officials and medical staff on the sideline. That's the cue for immediate concussion protocol assessment. No arguing, no waiting for a replay. This rule isn't just for show. Rugby has long battled criticism over head injuries and concussion management. The mouthguard tech aims to cut down the time between a dangerous hit and medical intervention, closing the gap where players might otherwise tough it out and risk long-term damage. But like every innovation, it's not without backlash. Some players say it feels like playing with a flashing warning sign ready to betray them at the slightest jolt, while others embrace it as a safeguard for their future health. Tackle height crackdown. If there's one area where rugby's lawmakers have been laser focused in recent years, it's tackle height. In 2025, the International Rugby Board doubled down on lowering the legal tackle zone, bringing the maximum height down to the base of the sternum. In simple terms, that means defenders now have to aim even lower than before, targeting a runner's midsection or hips rather than the chest. The logic is simple: lower tackles reduce the chance of head-on-head collisions and catastrophic concussions. But in practice, it's a huge adjustment for players, especially those who've spent a career mastering dominant chest height hits. The new laws don't just change how you tackle, they change how you approach defence entirely. For taller players, it's an even bigger headache. Dropping your tackle zone means bending low and committing early, leaving you vulnerable to sidesteps or offloads. It's also reshaping attacking strategies. Ball carriers are getting bolder about carrying high into contact, knowing defenders have to drop their level and risk losing momentum. Referees have been relentless in enforcing it too. Anything above the sternum is now flirting with a penalty or even a card. The Croc roll ban. The Croc roll has been one of rugby's most controversial breakdown moves for years. Picture this: a defender over the ball in a perfect jackal position, locking in for a turnover. An attacking player then comes in, grabs them around the torso or upper body, and rolls them sideways out of the contest, like a crocodile rolling its prey underwater. For a long time, this move lived in a legal grey area. It wasn't striking or stamping, so it wasn't an automatic foul, but it carried a massive injury risk, especially to knees and ankles. In 2025, that grey area finally turned black and white. The Croc roll is now fully illegal in all World Rugby sanctioned matches. Referees are instructed to blow it immediately and issue penalties, with potential yellow cards for reckless use. Supporters of the ban point to studies showing how many players have suffered season-ending ligament damage from Croc rolls. Critics argue it removes a key tool for clearing jackalers and protecting quick ball. But safety, at least for now, has won out over tradition. The jackling debate. Speaking of jackling, the art of stealing the ball at the breakdown, it's also under fresh scrutiny in 2025. While it hasn't been outlawed, the new safety focus has sparked talk about whether jackling as we know it will survive the decade. World Rugby hasn't banned the skill, but there's been a clear tightening of the rules around neck contact, supporting body weight, and timing. The main concern is the danger to both jackler and ball carrier. A poorly executed clear-out can leave the jackler's head exposed to heavy impact, while the jackler's position can also create awkward leverage points for injury. Several high-profile incidents in early 2025 matches, including the British and Irish Lions tour warm-ups, reignited the debate, especially after Wales's Jack Morgan suffered a neck scare in a contested breakdown. For now, the skill stays in the game, but officials are quicker to blow for anything resembling dangerous entry or binding. That means fewer long, grinding turnover battles and more emphasis on speed at the ruck. Coaches are already evolving their drills to ensure their jackalers are either lightning quick or not contesting at all. Mandatory concussion rest periods. In line with all these safety changes, 2025 has brought a harder stance on concussion return to play protocols. The mandatory rest period after a confirmed concussion has been standardised globally at a minimum of 12 days, with zero exceptions, even for elite competitions or finals. Previously, national unions had some leeway, and high-profile players occasionally made rapid returns within a week if cleared by team medics. That's no longer possible. A head injury automatically sidelines you for nearly 2 weeks, even if symptoms vanish in 48 hours. World Rugby's medical committee pushed this through after data showed how often second impact syndrome risks were overlooked in the rush to get stars back on the pitch. This rule has already altered selection strategies. Coaches now have to account for the possibility of losing a key player not just for the rest of a game, but for the following weekend's fixture too. Depth and rotation are more important than ever. Scrum reset reforms. The Scrum is rugby's most iconic and, to some, infuriating set piece. In 2025, lawmakers have targeted one of its biggest time wasters, multiple resets. New guidance now requires referees to move quickly from a collapsed or unstable scrum into a penalty, free kick or uncontested scrum, rather than ordering repeated resets. The change is partly about safety. Collapsed scrums are a major injury risk for necks and spines, but mostly about time. A single scrum collapse can eat up 2 full minutes with both packs resetting, re-engaging and recollapsing in a frustrating loop. Now, if a referee feels stability isn't coming fast, they'll blow and sanction the offending side. It's already sped up matches and forced front rows to adapt on the fly. Critics worry this puts too much power in a referee's subjective call, but supporters say it's the only way to keep scrums as contests rather than clock killers. The 20-minute red card rule. In a move that's divided the rugby world, the 20-minute red card trial has become more widespread in 2025. Under this system, a player shown a red card for foul play doesn't doom their team to play short-handed for the entire match. Instead, after 20 minutes, the team can bring on a replacement, though the offending player is done for the day. Proponents argue this stops a single mistake, especially one from a borderline high tackle, from ruining a contest completely. Critics say it softens the deterrent effect and may encourage reckless play if players know their side won't be permanently crippled. The law is still officially a trial, but its adoption in elite competitions like the Six Nations signals it may be here to stay. Anti-loitering and escort bans. 2025 also brought a crackdown on something casual viewers might not even notice: offside loitering. This is when players who are offside hang around near the breakdown instead of retreating, subtly blocking space or influencing passing lanes. Under the new guidance, referees have been told to police this strictly. If you're offside, you have to get back on side immediately, no half measures. Similarly, escorting has been reined in. This is where players shield or block an opponent chasing a kick without actually challenging for the ball themselves. It's long been a grey area in open play, but the new interpretation treats most escorting as obstruction, leading to penalties. This has changed how teams defend high kicks and force back threes to adjust positioning, making aerial battles cleaner, but also riskier. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.